this is Frode and welcome back to ActualizeNotes TV. Today we have another great book, Black Hole Focus by Isaiah Hankel. Black Hole Focus, subtitle, How Intelligent People Can Create a Powerful Purpose for Their Lives. Isaiah Hankel is a truly remarkable person. He's a doctor and Fortune 500 consultant, and he's internationally recognized as in the biotechnology industry. He focuses on helping people transition from unsatisfying jobs and into cutting-edge career tracks. Sounds awesome. And in this book, he helps us discover our purpose, refine it, and more importantly, stay true to it. The book was a quick reading book, fascinating and really inspiring, that I would especially recommend to young and ambitious people. Let's just get started with the first big idea, sheep. Isaiah grew up on a sheep farm, and working on a sheep farm, and when they had to bring these sheep on the sheep shearing day, from the pasture into these triangular cages, he and a couple of other farm hands would bang these sticks over their heads, and apparently sheep didn't like the sound of sticks. So what would happen is that one sheep would start running in the opposite direction, and then the herd would just follow. And then when he got them to the cage, he then lured them with carrots into the cage before they were essentially trapped. Carrots and sticks. These sheep are what Isaiah calls tacticians. They respond to what's happening right now in front of them, and they're responding to what all of the other sheep did. Like when one sheep started running, all of the herd just started running after it. But we humans all often act like sheep too, like tacticians, responding to what's right in front of us. Because and then this often results in us ending up in unsatisfying jobs or relationships because we haven't really mapped out what we really want to do with our lives. And Isaiah says instead of being tacticians, he says we want to be strategists. And a strategist begins with the end in mind. In other words, later. He maps out his purpose, and he then works backwards to know what he needs to get done today to fulfill that purpose. So think about this right now. What is your goal for the next 5 years, 10 years? I like to think about in 50 years, my ultimate purpose, but it could be anything. Then map it down to what you need to do today to achieve that purpose. We don't want to be sheep, tacticians, we want to be strategists, beginning with the end in mind. Our next big idea is Ikigai. Isaiah talks about these blue zones, which are basically places in the world where people live to be older than 100 years. And it talks about one particular blue zone on the mainland of Okinawa, where the people have the longest life expectancy in the entire world, the longest disability-free life expectancy in the world. These people live on average 7 years longer than the average American. And these people don't have a word for retirement. They instead live by the word Ikigai. And Ikigai means having a reason for... Ikigai is the reason for which you get up in the morning. So what is your Ikigai? What is the reason you get up in the morning? Mine is to help people actualize. And as I often talk about. And he also presents some fascinating studies showing that people who have a purpose in their lives have longer life expectancy, they live better lives, and they have less diseases and cancer than people who don't have a purpose in their lives. So think about this. Ikigai. What is your reason for getting up in the morning? And whether it's teaching karate at 102 or 104, or learning to fish at 104, these people in Okinawa have a purpose which gives them direction in their lives. They have a reason to get up in the morning. They're not just passing by. Alright, so much meandering look at Ikigai. Let's look at the third big idea, hope. So I'm not very fond of animal experiments, but this one proves an important point. Isaiah talks about a Harvard graduate who wanted to experiment to find out how long rats could swim in buckets of circulating water before essentially sinking and drowning. So at first, he tried just letting them swim until they were exhausted and sank. And they could swim for about 15 minutes. But then, he tried rescuing them and drying them off and letting them rest for a bit before they were exhausted, before he put them back into the water again. And this second time, he found out that the rats could stay in the swimming for 60 hours. When the rats were rescued, they could swim 240 times longer than when they were not. And the experimenter concluded that this is because they were given hope. But Isaiah builds on this and says that they were given energy through hope. And he says, purpose, having clear end in mind, equals hope, you think you can achieve it, equals energy, which is your ability to achieve it. You might have experienced this when you have been running a race. You have been exhausted and feel like you couldn't take another step. You've been running for miles, but then you see the finish line and you run like a champion, like you're just in the beginning of the race. I certainly experienced this, and it's an amazing feeling. So you had a purpose, you had the finish line, you saw the finish line, you had hope, you knew it wasn't far away, so you could reach it, and you got energy to run like a champion. True hero. But we want to have hope, which means we need to have a purpose, beginning with the end in mind. That gives us hope, which gives us energy. Our fourth big idea is singularity. Singularity is a point. We're now getting at the physics of black holes. And Isaiah says that singularity is a point which has an infinite density and infinitesimal volume. Think about that for a second. Infinite density and infinitesimal volume. I can't begin to wrap my brain around that. And he says that these singularities exist in the center of black holes. So you have black holes, and then you have in the center singularity. And he says we need to look at our purpose and core priorities like this also. So everything just gets sucked into the black hole of our purpose. And CP is core priorities, we'll say. So this consists of two steps. You need to know your values. I think he says only values, but I want to build on it. So you need to know your values. What is important to you? For me, these are things like I am purpose-driven. If I'm not working on helping people actualize, I very soon feel a little miserable. I value being hardworking, showing up every single day, or almost every single day, if it's not possible, to do my work. And I value being humble. I have these huge goals for what I want to achieve in the future, but I know that I need to show up consistently and do the work every single day. So what are your values? And then think about what are your core activities that you need to do every single day, or almost daily, to achieve that purpose. Mine are I read, I write, and I teach, as I often talk about. And a tip for writers: in his book on writing, Stephen King, the renowned novelist, says that if you want to become a good writer, you need to do two things above all else: read a lot and write a lot. There is no shortcut. So think about how you can create a point of singularity for your purpose, and letting your core priorities be like a black hole which gets sucked into that purpose. Alright, last big idea, really exciting one, is MBAs versus kindergartners. So he presents this really fascinating experiment, Isaiah does, from another book I think it is. And this experiment includes MBA graduates, CEO of large organizations, kindergartners, and a bunch of other groups of people. And they are going to do what's called the Marshmallow Challenge. They're given 20 sticks of hard uncooked spaghetti, some string, I think, some tape, and a marshmallow. And in 18 minutes, they are going to build the largest structure they can out of these materials, with one caveat: the marshmallow needs to be on top. And the results are fascinating. One of the worst performing groups are the MBA graduates, closely followed by CEOs of large organizations. And one of the best performing groups, they are kindergartners. And why is this? Well, whereas the CEOs and MBAs were focused on planning, pasteurizing, assigning roles and responsibilities, they were wasting so much time that they just had to scramble up a tower which quickly crumbled into pieces. Whereas the kindergartners, well, they just took action. They got into it, noticed what did work and what didn't, and learned as they went. They weren't afraid about failure or making mistakes. They just tried. They kept trying. So, Adam Grant, author of Originals, says that many people really fail to become originals because they pick only generate a few ideas. For example, a work of art, a few books. They create a few ideas for businesses, and then they try to obsess about them and making them perfect. And of course, we want to plan to a certain extent and know in general what we want to see. But then we just need to take action at one point. Action is a lot more powerful than theory, and it always will be. Think about this: MBAs versus kindergartners. Plans versus actions. Get clear on your purpose and your core priorities, which includes your values and your daily activities, so they can get sucked into a coal-like singularity. Infinite density, infinitesimal volume. Hope. We need to have a purpose, which gives us hope, which gives us energy, just like the rats did. Ikigai. What is your reason for getting up in the morning? And sheep. We don't want to be tacticians, respond to what's in front of us. We want to be a strategist, begin with the end in mind, and map out the steps. Alright, what is the one idea that jumped out at you? Think about how you can apply it more consistently in your life, starting your day. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have another awesome day. See ya.